I want a knife. It's since I was 10 that I wanted to do it. Hi, I'm Stefano and welcome to Rikai Bonsai, a place where to learn bonsai from the ground up. Today is the 6th of August and we are just past midsummer, so it's the perfect time for some updates and to see some new trees. The first update is on the oaks that I rescued after a game of fetch with Momo in the heath. Where they are? Unfortunately, they didn't make it. How disappointing. After a week or 10 days, they started to wilt, and a week later, they were gone. Speaking of oaks, this is my royal oak grown from an acorn, harvested at Heron's Bonsai on our first visit nearly 2 years ago. When we moved into the new house almost 5 months ago, the tree already had some leaves, the darker one in the bottom part of the canopy, but then it suddenly stopped growing. I was afraid of having to face yet another failure. Then a couple of weeks ago I noticed some suckers in the lower part of the trunk, taking some vigor away from the plant. I cut them and the tree pushed out a new flash of growth. See all the new leaves on top of the canopy. Fantastic! I'm really looking forward to next spring when I'll finally cut the taproot, repot the tree in bonsai soil and prune it back hard for some movement.
Speaking of errands, look what I just received. Peter Chan has reprinted his famous book, Psy Masterclass, and this is one of the first few copies that he shipped. This book looks amazing. I look forward to dive into it later. If you're interested, the current batch is completely sold, but new copies will be available soon.
Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated.
Before moving, I've also tossed some Pyracantha and hawthorn berries into this planter. I did my best to remove all the flesh, because apparently it prevents germination, and a few seedlings have actually sprouted. Since I had little luck with hawthorns in the past, I was pretty sure they were all Pyracanthas, but it turns out they are hawthorns instead. These are the 12 seedlings that I just potted. I had collected several Pyracantha seeds. I had even sent some to Jay and Nigel in Canada. Kept some for myself, but I've got lost in the move, so I couldn't plant them.
The Pyracantha is growing new berries, and soon I'll have new seeds to sow. Not sure whether to count this as a success or not. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Enough fiascos, let's talk about something that finally went well. After moving here, we weeded the patio's flower bed and the deck's planter, and we discovered a red cedar and an ash tree. The red cedar, Juniper virginiana, is doing great. It's almost twice as tall as it was when I potted it. The ash, Fraxinus excelsior, is doing even better. It was only a stick with 3 leaves when I dug it out. And look now! And look at that bend in the trunk, wow! Later on, I discovered a second and bigger red cedar while finalizing the weeding. It had some dry twigs and withered foliage here and there, so it didn't grow as much as the other, but now has green tips on top, meaning that it's doing well too.
A few weeks ago, we had a heatwave here in the UK, which later culminated in the hottest day ever on records. More or less in those days, little Kuma joined us, and I got sick, so I couldn't attend the plants. Some have suffered the heat, but recovered. Others, unfortunately, didn't make it.
The mimosa, or Acacia dialbata, that I was growing for Yoshi and that in 1 year got taller than us, is one of the latter. I tried to cut off the dead part, but it didn't respond. The plan was to air layering it into a bonsai, but it got busted. Too bad. Anyway, this young fella has just arrived, so it might still happen in the future. The corkscrew willows, or Salix tortuosa, have lost all their leaves, but luckily they have regrown all of them. Next spring I'll cut back and propagate the taller ones and rewire the other. Next, this apple tree, cultivar Appletini, who lost all its leaves after turning brown. I was so upset because it had one of the thickest trunk among my plants. Luckily it fully recovered, as you see. And this is, well, was my Japanese maple forest. All 5 trees were heavily affected by the heat, and so far only 3 of them have recovered. Let's see how they do the others in autumn. Upstairs, I've got these maples after moving here. I've embedded them in a planter to see if they were growing any faster, and it seems so. You might remember them as I begged Jelle to help me understand how to prune them in another video. I've tried selective pruning, 1 branch into 2, only short internodes, no branches in odd directions, etc. on all of them except the variegated one that grows very slowly. Of course, I turned all the pruned branches into cuttings, following Jelle's instructions. Let's see how they do. Anyway, after 2 weeks, they literally exploded with growth, and now they look bushier than ever. I think I'm not doing it right, so if you have any tips or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. This European larch went brown and lost all its leaves, looking completely dead. Suddenly it started to kick back, just from this spot. Do you know actually how to encourage growth everywhere? If you do, please let me know in the comments. Next, we have a deodar cedar. This guy just enjoyed basking in the sun and the hot temperatures, and it wasn't affected at all. It's a bit difficult to reach, but looks like he might use some wiring quite soon. Next in line is a Pinus sylvestris, or a Scots pine, for which the only thing left to do, I'm afraid, is saying a requiescat. Moving on, this is my Mame Ficus benjamina forest, spending the summer here to grow faster. And this is its brother, a Mame Chinese elm. You might have seen them both in the subscriber pick section of a Blue Jay Bonsai video. This one instead is a Crategus persimilis, a type of hawthorn that is originally from South Canada. It was just 2 leaves on a stem when I got it. Not bad. And on the other end of the planter we have a jasmine. In a week it doubled in height and flowered already. Smells so nice.
Last but not least, my seed planter. Among the seeds that I saw here, I clearly had success with some Scots pine, some red pines just next to them, and now some larches. And I also tried another soil mixture here, cocoa coir, perlite and molar clay. And here I have 5 larches growing already. And we might have some Japanese quinces sprouting in the next few days. The next seeds that I like to plant are these banyan fig seeds. What's the best way to germinate them? I don't know how to deal with tropical seeds. If you do, please get in touch in the comments. That's all for today. I'm Stefano, thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time.